Welcome back. If by some chance you landed on this video without going through and watching part 1, click here to watch that one first. You'll be so glad you did. This video and the framework we're about to get into are awesome. But these two frameworks go together like pancakes and maple syrup, mac and cheese, or fish and chips. If you don't use them together, the magic will be lost. So watch part 1 now, take notes, and we'll see you back here after so you can start transforming your maritime business. One of the biggest challenges anybody will face while trying to grow a business is learning how to sell. Very few people want to sell, and even fewer actually enjoy the process of selling. And there's good reason. A recent survey by HubSpot revealed that 97% of respondents do not trust salespeople. The only group of people who fared worse was Congress. I'm sure you guessed that one. The problem is, we really do have to sell in order to grow our business. By that, I mean we have to tell people about our products and services, and they have to pull out their cards or checks to buy them, or our businesses will crash. The solution? The Customer is the Hero sales framework was designed specifically for people who feel uncomfortable selling. The framework is designed, in fact, so you don't have to think about selling at all. All you have to do is discover what your customer is frustrated about and then help them find a solution to their problem. When you do this, you play the role of guide in your customer's story. You will find that when you think of your customer as the hero in a story and yourself as an important character in their story who is trying to help them win the day, they in turn respect you rather than fear you. They admire you rather than abhor you. And they are grateful to discover you represent a solution to their problem. We're going to show you how to use the power of story to close more sales without feeling pushy or manipulative. If we learn to sell without selling, there is no limit to what we can accomplish in our business. But if we do not learn to sell the right way, our revenue will be limited and our businesses will not grow. In this video, we'll build on everything that we covered in the last video so you can stop selling and instead start inviting customers into a story. After you learn and start using it, I guarantee you will close more deals naturally, conversationally, without feeling salesy. The first time we used these frameworks, we didn't just increase our revenue, we doubled it, and you can too. These are the type of game-changing frameworks we help our clients use to transform their maritime business into a finely tuned machine. I'm Tommy G. I founded Small Business Advisor Group to help you break out of the frustration, stress, give you what you need to confidently, consistently increase revenue, profit, and the enterprise value of your business. And in the process, help you regain and maintain your sanity so you can have a better quality of life. If I can help you with any of this, go ahead and book in a call with me. There's a link to my calendar in the description. This framework is going to teach you to engage in sales conversations that feel natural and kind, position yourself as a helpful guide in your customer's life, earn respect and admiration from the customers you engage with, and close more sales without feeling like you sold anything. The framework will also help you create sales collateral beyond just sales conversations, including sales letters and emails that get opened, read, and close sales, proposals that generate business, keynote presentations that lead to sales, easy and natural talking points for use in casual conversations, an elevator pitch that makes people want to know more and ultimately buy your products. Once you're finished, you'll be better at sales than most professional salespeople, and you won't even feel like you're selling. If you hate to sell, but you want to get your maritime business to the next level, this framework is for you. How do we create better sales conversations? By inviting customers into a story. How? Use the unique power of story to close more sales naturally, conversationally, without feeling pushy or manipulative. The big paradigm shift is to stop selling and instead start inviting customers into a story. To do that, you can use this framework for writing emails, giving elevator pitches, giving keynote presentations, creating sales videos, and so on. You and everyone on your team can quickly and easily be converted into a great sales representative if they know the customer is the hero sales framework. The customer is the hero framework is going to help you engage in better sales conversations and close more sales. How? It makes sales more natural and conversational. So you and your team can have more informal sales conversations. Write better follow-up emails, create better proposals, learn to ask for the money in a way that isn't awkward. Your customer sees themselves as a hero in a story, trying to solve a problem in order to be set free from their troubles. All human behavior is motivated by the desire to solve a problem. Hunger, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Loneliness, community, group, clubs, associations. Financial desires, save more money, make more money, increase business revenue. Anxiety, peace, and peace of mind. The reason your customers come to you is to solve a problem. Every sales conversation is an intake session between a guide and a hero. The guide's job is to identify the hero's problem and help them solve that problem. The guide demonstrates how the products and services they offer will help their hero achieve a happy ending to their specific story. Here are the 5 parts of the Customer is the Hero sales script. First, define your customer's problem. Then, position your product as the solution. Then, mitigate cognitive dissonance by building a bridge using a 3-step plan or baby steps. Next, bring up the negative stakes. What bad thing will happen, continue to happen, or get even worse if they don't buy your product or service? Then, bring up the positive stakes. What will the positive result be if they buy your product or service? Finally, call the customer to action. Affirm that your customer is making the right decision if they buy your product or service. Here's a visual way of looking at the framework. Your customer has a problem that they can't solve on their own. You have a solution to their problem. Once they hear about it, they want that solution, but they don't know how to get to the other side of the river to get it. So you have to show them how to cross the river by giving them a plan. Build a bridge from their problem to your product or service as the solution. To make the story interesting, you have to show them what is at stake if they don't cross the bridge. The negative stakes. And what life can be like if they do cross the bridge. The positive stakes. And then you want to call them to action by showing them what they need to do to get to your solution. This is how you want to think of the story you're inviting your customer into. Again, the very first thing you want to do is start with your customer's problem. Every story actually starts with a character that has a problem. Bridget Jones wants to be in a relationship with her elusive boss. But he's kind of a dirtbag, so she's just got to figure that out. Erin Brockovich wants to beat the big energy company, and they're sending an army of lawyers to oppose her. So there's a problem. Frodo has to destroy the ring, but the ring is inside of a huge mountain, and there are 1,000 challenges standing between him and the fires of Mordor. If you think about it, all stories are about problems. In fact, it's only when you actually define the problem that people get interested in the story. There is no story unless there's a problem. If I told you a story about a character that wanted something, and immediately went online and ordered it for same-day delivery and got the thing that he wanted, that's the end of the story. The story has to be about a character that wants something and tries to go get it, and they encounter 1,000 problems along the way. That posits a story question in our mind. How are they going to overcome this problem in order to get what they want? That's the hook. There's a phrase in the entertainment business that's worth remembering in all forms of communication, including sales. And it's that the problem is the hook. That's why when you are inviting a customer into a story, you want to start by simply talking about whatever problem they have that your product or service solves. The only reason people are interested in buying your product or service is because they are trying to solve a problem, and when you talk about that problem, you trigger their buying journey. It's worth repeating. The only reason people are coming to you, going to your website, returning your sales call, or even paying attention inside of a sales conversation is because they just heard you talk about a problem that they are trying to solve. And when they actually hear you do that, it triggers their buying journey. Until the customer hears you articulate the problem they are dealing with and knows that you understand that problem, they will not be interested in making a purchase. Your customer must realize what their problem is before they will consider buying your product or service. Your first step as a guide is to help them realize exactly what their problem is. This makes them want to take action to solve their problem. You will never sell anything until you articulate the problem your product or service solves. Let me give you an example that is outside of the maritime industry, but it's a good one. Let's say that we're at a cocktail party. There are a bunch of people at the party. You have some brief, casual conversations, but you happen to have a conversation with two people who do the exact same thing in different parts of the night. You talk to one person and you ask, "What do you do?" They say, "Well, I'm a private chef." You would probably think, that's really interesting. You'd ask where they went to culinary school and what their favorite restaurants are, and do you ever cook for anybody famous, and what's your favorite thing to cook? And you'd make conversation and it'd be great. You would probably not consider doing business with that person. You would definitely think that they are very interesting, say it was nice to meet you, and then you would move on. Then you meet another person that does exactly the same thing. They solve exactly the same problem at the same price, and they have exactly the same quality product. When you ask that person what they do, and they say, "Well, you know how most families don't eat together anymore? And when they do, they don't eat healthy? I'm an at-home chef." All right, let's just stop right there. Which chef is going to do more business? Is it the first chef that told you what they did, or the second chef that told you the problem they solve and then positioned their service as the solution to that problem? I think we all know the answer to that question. The second chef will get all the business. They will get all the business, not just more business. They will get all the business. Why? Because the second chef didn't sell anybody anything. The second chef just invited people into a story. That's it. Let's look closely at the story the second chef invited people into. Just look at what the second chef said. You know how most families don't eat together anymore? And when they do, they don't eat healthy? The problem is the hook. If you start with the problem, you open a story loop. People wonder, where are you going? And how are you going to solve this problem? Always, always, always start with the problem. Now, if I can help you with any of this, go ahead and book in a call with me. There's a link to my calendar in the description. What problems are your customers experiencing that you can solve? Identify the main problem your customer is dealing with as it relates to the product or service you are selling. Now that we've identified your customer's problem, it's time to position your product or service as the solution. Let's see how our friend the chef does this. I'm an at-home chef. I come to your house and cook so you and your family can really connect over dinner. Do you notice how much more valuable the service seems because it's positioned as the solution to a problem? The buying journey begins when the customer realizes your product solves their problem. Lead with the features and benefits that solve the problem your customer is facing. Otherwise, the customer will feel like you didn't listen to them. You can say something like, "It sounds like you're struggling with X. Our product or service solves that with Y." People consider buying a product only when they realize your product or service is the solution to their problem. What is it about your product or service that solves your customer's specific problem? Complete this statement. My customer won't have to struggle with this problem anymore because my product or service offers, and then fill in the blank. Then it's time to give your customer a 3-step plan. Let's see how our chef does this. If you ever want to try it, the process is really simple. First, we have a quick 30-minute meeting where I find out what your family likes to eat, what food allergies exist, and so on. Second, I come to your house and make dinner. Your family enjoys the meal without having to cook or clean up. And if you like, we take a third step where we figure out a consistent, repeatable day of the week where I come and cook so you don't have to. Can you see the 3-step plan? If you read or heard this, would it alleviate the cognitive dissonance that might stop you from ordering the chef's service? What 3 steps could you invite a customer to take that might make purchasing your product or service feel less risky? The customer is ready to make a purchase, but they aren't going to, for 2 reasons. They are afraid, and they are confused. When we offer a 3-step plan, our customer is much more likely to cross the bridge from their problem to our solution. What is the clear 3-step plan you need to give prospective customers so they will cross the bridge from their problem to your solution? Now, it's time to paint the negative stakes. Remember, if nothing can be lost, there is no reason to make a purchase. There are only so many family dinners left before the kids go off on their own. Don't be afraid of a little drama when you're writing the negative stakes section. Drama reduces considerably when it's put into language, so you're going to have to lay it out there and a little thick in order to get your reader's attention. Stories are only interesting when there's something at stake. People are more motivated to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. People will take action to avoid a loss or negative consequence. Negative stakes increase a sense of urgency and cause more customers to cross the bridge to your solution. What is the negative consequence you are saving your customer from experiencing? What does their life look like if their problem is not resolved? The next thing you want to do is let the customer know the positive stakes that will happen to them if they place an order. My clients sit comfortably at dinner and actually engage with each other. Day after day, they get to know each other a little bit better and feel supported, listened to, and cared for. And all because, at least for a couple days each week, they don't have to cook. Notice how clear the offer is and how obvious it is that buying the product will improve the customer's life. People respond positively to emails or sales conversations like this, not because they are coercive, but because they are clear. When a customer can completely understand your offer, they are more likely to make a purchase. Every person is motivated to find a solution to their problem. Every customer is trying to solve a problem so they can experience a better life. In a story, heroes are constantly moving towards a climactic scene. People not only avoid pain, they head towards hope. Contrast makes the story interesting. The more contrast there is between the positive and negative consequences, the greater the stakes and the greater the sense of urgency. How will your customer's life be better if they buy your product or service? What does their life look like if their problem is resolved? The next thing you want to do is call the customer to action. It's time to ask for the commitment. I've got time on my schedule next week if you want to meet to talk about your family's food preferences. Is there a day next week that works for you? Asking for the sale is a natural part of a healthy customer relationship. Once our chef gives the customer a purchasing decision to accept or reject, the customer knows exactly what they need to do to solve their problem and can make a decision to step into the story or go a different way. Go ahead and feel free to take a picture of the screen or do a screen capture so you can start working on your own scripts. At this point, your customer already wants to buy your product. They just need encouragement. What statement can you make to give your customer permission to buy your product or service? Memorize your call to action and practice it until it feels and sounds natural. Make sure you are using a clear call to action. Never assume your customer knows what you want them to do, even if you think it's obvious. Customers will often do what you need them to do once you make the call to action crystal clear. Schedule a call. Buy now. Get yours. Talk to a rep. Take the survey. Download. What is a call to action that you will memorize and repeat to close more sales? What do you do with your new sales script? Immediately send an email to any potential customer who is sitting on the fence. Continue to use the formula to write follow-up sales emails. Use the formula to create automated email campaigns in your CRM. Use the formula for narration on any promotional videos. Teach this framework to your sales team. Yes, we offer the Customer is the Hero sales training workshops. go ahead and book in a call with me. There's a link to my calendar in the description. We would love to help you and your team. Congratulations! You just learned how to clarify your offer and invite customers into a story. How do you feel now about your ability to close more deals naturally, conversationally, without feeling pushy or manipulative? When you use our framework, you aren't coercing people or tricking them into buying something they don't need. Instead, you're inviting them into a story that will help them solve a problem. You play the role of guide in your customer's story. When you think of your customer as the hero in a story and yourself as an important character in their story who is trying to help them win the day, they in turn respect you rather than fear you. They admire you rather than abhor you. And they are grateful to discover you represent a solution to their problem. We've covered a ton of incredibly valuable information in these 2 videos with these powerful frameworks. Here's a recap. First, you have overcome the dreaded curse of confusion. You've learned how to clarify your message so more customers pay attention, will buy your product or service, and you'll sell more. Second, you've left behind the awkward and uncomfortable idea of selling and learned how to close more deals naturally, conversationally, without feeling pushy or manipulative. You stopped selling and instead can now start inviting customers into a story where more will buy your product or service to solve their problem, and it will feel great. You are now prepared to grow your maritime business using the unique power of story. Here are a few questions to consider. Is your maritime business too dependent on you? Are you working more but feel frustrated, stuck at the same level? Do you feel trapped in the day-to-day? You shouldn't have to guess how to grow the right way. The uncertainty is costing you time, money, and eventually your health. The stakes are too high. You, your family, and your business deserve better. We know from experience how hard it can be to grow a business. These are just 2 of the transformational frameworks we guide our clients through in our flagship program. Small Business Advisor Group exists to help business owners in the maritime industry increase revenue, profit, and enterprise value, so you get the freedom you were looking for when you first started your business. There's a link to my calendar in the description. Click that link to book in a call with me. Thank you for investing your valuable time with us. We'll speak to you soon.